Starting off our countdown at number 10 is Chris D'Elia. He was accused with some serious allegations, and why people find him so toxic is because he's gotten away with them. Earlier this year, he was caught messaging an underage girl trying to make plans with her to fly to New York to visit him. He claims he didn't know that she was underage, but she said her Instagram profile shows her age. He walked away from the situation hands clean, and it seemed like people just completely forgot about it. Fast forward to September, he was once again under a microscope after 2 more women came forward and accused him of exposing himself to them. Both women claim he exposed himself without their consent and performed sexual acts on himself. Chris's lawyer made a statement saying that Chris denies these allegations and states that he has never engaged in any sexual conduct with any woman without her consent. Again, these new allegations came in September and people have already stopped talking about it, which is clearly very toxic. And I don't understand. I don't get it. Up next, number 9 is Offset. He's been making a lot of negative headlines recently after it was announced that Cardi B had filed for divorce since he was caught cheating on her again. So some would say that a person who continues to cheat on his wife is a toxic person, but if that's not enough reason, his most recent news headline might be. The rapper was questioned by police while on Instagram Live last week while he was driving through a Trump rally. The cops said they received reports that he was waving a gun outside of the car window. He refused to get out of his car after they asked, so eventually the cops removed him, and at that point the live stream was stopped. Later on, the Beverly Hills Police Department tweeted a statement that clarified Cardi B's cousin, Marcelo Almanzar, who was in the passenger seat of Offset's car, was the one arrested for carrying a concealed weapon and carrying a loaded firearm in public. So it wasn't actually Offset with the gun, but he was still there and letting it happen. You know, still not a good situation. Rolling into spot number 8 is Britney Spears. The only reason she would ever be considered toxic right now is simply because the situation she is in is very confusing. It's hard to understand what exactly she is going through because the media has led fans to believe a few different outcomes. A movement was started online called Free Britney after people were worried that she was being held under strict restrictions from her father, who has full control over her life and finances. She started posting these strange videos and photos on her social media, and people said that she was using codes in her videos to ask for help. But then her sister made a statement online saying that mental illness is not a joke and that she is not being held captive or harmed. All we know is the legal battle Britney is facing against her father as her lawyer tries to get her back her rights to her own life and finances. Her dad was granted conservatorship in 2008 when Britney had her breakdown, but now they want to get everything back in her control. Cruising into spot number 7 is Mama June. It's honestly hard to consider her a celebrity, but she did reach heights of fame that no one really expected for her time on TLC's show Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. She was the mom in the reality show, and her personality won over the hearts of many people. But all of her fame and success came crashing down after news broke in 2014 saying that she was dating a 53-year-old sex offender who allegedly assaulted her own daughter, who actually came forward with these claims. TLC immediately canceled the show and people turned against Mama June, who continued dating him despite the claims from her own daughter. But she eventually moved on to another man, and that is when things got even worse. She was arrested with her new man in March 2019 at an Alabama gas station after police were called for a domestic disturbance. She ended up getting charged with felony possession of a controlled substance and drug paraphernalia and domestic violence/harassment. There's a lot of toxic things in that paragraph that I just read. Making her way into number 6 is Shannon Doherty. In the 90s, you would have seen her everywhere. She was taking on lead roles in Beverly Hills 90210 and Charmed. Stories surfaced saying that she was fired from Charmed after an ongoing feud that she had with her co-star Alyssa Milano. But that was never confirmed. All we know is that she left the show because of the feud, which was heavily documented for years. Fast forward to 2019, she reprised her role for the 90210 reboot but got fired after getting into a physical altercation with her co-star Jenny Garth. So I see a pattern happening here. It's clear that she does not get along with people, or that there just has to be some kind of miscommunication and coincidence. But once things got physical, she was fired from the show immediately because she was the one who started it, apparently. Only 1 month after the incident, she was involved in another court case where she was accused of owing the bank around $36,000. So there's a few reasons why people might be skeptical about hiring her or even being friends with her. This girl throws down if she don't like you. Halfway through the list, at number 5 is Ellen DeGeneres. 2020 has not been Ellen's year, and that is because she was attacked online all summer for allegedly not being as nice as she is on TV and having a toxic work environment. These claims started to surface after former employees and bodyguards came forward stating that the workplace was very toxic. But they only came forward after one of Ellen's guests, Nikki Tutorials, shared her experience on the show and said it wasn't what she thought it would be. She revealed that Ellen didn't even say hi to her before the show and that the overall experience wasn't as positive as she expected. The claims got so serious that her show was under investigation and 2 producers were fired from her show after they were accused of sexual harassment and misconduct. But Ellen's show somehow made it through and she's filming a new season right now despite everything. In her opening season 18 monologue, she issued a public apology and said that they were working on making their work environment a better place. Rolling into number 4 is Chris Pratt. The Guardians of the Galaxy star has been facing tons of backlash after one tweet started trending where people had to choose which Chris was the worst one. Amy Berg tweeted, "One has to go," and attached pictures of Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, and Chris Pine. The innocent joke turned serious real quick after Ellen Page called him out for supporting a religious organization that reportedly discriminates against the LGBTQ community. The organization is called Hillsong Church, and in 2015, the senior pastor wrote in a post that the church welcomes all people but does not affirm all lifestyles, including the gay lifestyle. Their words, not mine. And to top it all off, people exposed the fact that he might be a Trump supporter. He did not attend the recent virtual fundraiser for Joe Biden, which was attended by all his other Avenger co-stars. Though he hasn't openly said that he discriminates against the LGBTQ community or that he supports Trump, people are claiming he is more toxic than people realized and that he is just quiet about it. In the 3rd spot is Shia LaBeouf. There was a time when he was one of the biggest actors in Hollywood and didn't get involved in drama or controversy. But then that all changed and he was the center of it. Things seemed to take a dark turn for the actor in 2017 when video footage showed him wildly drunk and yelling racial slurs towards police officers who were arresting him. It was a hard scandal for him to defend because it wasn't just a story that he could deny. The whole thing was caught on camera and we got to see exactly what happened. After the incident, he was sentenced to 10 weeks of court-ordered rehab where he says that he learned that his violence and defensiveness was a result of post-traumatic stress disorder coming from an incident in his childhood. After that, he did have more controversial moments in his career, but he seems to be in a better place more recently. He was blacklisted for a while in Hollywood though, with one director saying that he is too much of a liability to hire him. AKA, he is too toxic. Moving on to number 2, we have Bill Cosby. Luckily, this toxic celebrity can no longer be spreading his toxins across Hollywood because his behavior had him locked behind bars. If you followed his highly publicized trial, then you would understand why he is considered one of the most toxic celebrities in Hollywood. His career came crashing down in 2014 when allegations surfaced that he had sexually assaulted more than 50 people throughout the years 1965 to 2008. After one woman came forward, it was a domino effect and other women came forward with their stories. Bill always claimed his innocence and battled the different allegations for years. But in 2018, he was found guilty for 3 counts of aggravated assault and then he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in state prison. Now that doesn't seem like a long time if you ask me, like not enough time for his crimes, but since he's 83 years old right now, some people believe it's basically the rest of his life in there. Coming into our number 1 place is Chris Brown. People were wondering why Chris Brown wasn't included in the big who is the worst Chris debate. Because out of all the other Chris celebrities in the category, he is definitely the worst one. Or he should at least be considered. It seems like the world forgot the night in 2009 when he left his then girlfriend Rihanna bruised and bleeding. Now, he later admitted that their relationship was toxic and that the physical abuse was on both ends, but most people will agree that there is never an excuse to hit a woman. Chris did an interview after the altercation and fully admitted to punching her in the face that night, admitting that he felt like a monster after it happened. He was arrested after the photos and news stories broke the internet, and Rihanna actually testified against him in court. Some people were more forgiving towards him and saw it as a toxic relationship, while others saw his behavior as personal anger issues and very toxic violent habits. Starting us off in the number 10 spot is Jeffree Star. If you follow the YouTube community, then you know about the beauty guru even if you aren't interested in makeup. Even if you are a fan of him, he's always in the middle of every scandal, and recently he's been putting out fires everywhere in his career for a lot of harsh claims. He's being called a racist for past comments he's made. He was accused of knowing about the Davy Vanity sexual assault cases, and most recently accused of bullying James Charles and setting up that huge 2019 scandal to a point where James had suicidal thoughts. There is a lot to the drama because he's been a huge influencer on YouTube for years, but he's always the front man in every scandal, so we all can agree that that is a toxic place to be. Up next, number 9 is Perez Hilton. With his job, it's kind of impossible to not come off as a toxic person in Hollywood. He's a famous media personality who got known off his celebrity blogging pieces. His website covers all the latest drama and gossip about celebrities, and because he's the one dishing out the information, he often takes a lot of heat for it. I mean, we kind of do the same thing on our channels. Like, we cover the latest celebrity news, stories, and updates, and sometimes people come at us as if we're making up the gossip, but really we're the ones just delivering the news, like it's our job. But Perez kind of inserts himself in situations, like he tweets at celebrities causing these feuds, and he often just shares his opinion even when he's not asked to. So for more reasons than one, he could be viewed as very toxic. Cruising into number 8 is Kim Kardashian. Some people would argue that the whole Kardashian family, like in general, should be on this list, but Kim takes a lot of heat, especially being married to Kanye West, because we all know Kanye West and his erratic behavior. She recently received a ton of backlash after posting a video of her wearing a corset from her Met Gala outfit. In the video, her waist looks incredibly small, and people immediately started accusing her for setting dangerous body standards that could be dangerous to women and young girls that follow her. Even actress Jamila Jamil called her out publicly and accused her of being obsessed with her body shape and overall image. Maybe Kim doesn't realize how those types of posts could affect people, but it could be very toxic, especially for young girls who are influenced more by the media. In our number 7 spot is Chris Brown. He let the world know he was in a toxic relationship in 2009 when he faced assault charges from his girlfriend at the time, Rihanna. He pleaded guilty to the charges and openly admitted that they were both physical with each other, and said that he punched her in the face and busted her lip. Since then, he's always had an angry reputation, like getting kicked out of clubs, having feuds with other celebrities, and smashing windows in the back of a studio after walking off set because he didn't like the interviewer's question. Other celebrities have come forward saying that they just try to avoid him, probably for the best. Moving on to number 6, we have Lindsay Lohan. She was once one of the biggest celebrities in Hollywood, but struggled with an addiction that led to her arrest. She eventually got sober and moved to Dubai because she wanted to avoid paparazzi, and it is illegal over there. Fun fact. I don't think people had an issue with her addiction because we understand that some people struggle with it. It was her aggressive and erratic behavior that people just don't want to be involved with. She doesn't have a very good track record with other celebrities in more recent times, and because of her charges and reputation, a relationship with her could be toxic to their reputation. It looks like she is trying to make a comeback right now though, guys, so let's cross our fingers and send positive vibes her way, because I loved her and I would just, I would love a turnaround. I really would. Miss her and Amanda Bynes. I miss both of them very much. Halfway through at number 5 is Charlie Sheen. If you followed any of his behavior in recent years, then you would already understand why he's on our list. At one point in time, he was the highest paid TV actor in Hollywood, earning $1.8 million an episode, crazy, for his role on 2.5 Men. But then in 2018, he was admitting to Vanity Fair that he had been blacklisted. He said, "I've been unable to find steady work and have been blacklisted from many aspects of the entertainment industry. It was his addiction to drugs and alcohol that led him there after he had multiple trips to rehab, domestic violence charges against him by multiple women, lashing out at producers, and demanding a 50% raise on top of his $1.8 million an episode." Directors have said he is too much of a liability because his past behavior was so impulsive, but he has sobered up and there is a chance that he could turn his reputation around. Rolling into the number 4 spot is Azealia Banks. She's got a reputation for being a feisty little firecracker, and her temper has landed her in some trouble on more than one occasion. She has started storms on Twitter with her abrasive and offensive tweets, and she has been both physically and verbally aggressive in public. Allegedly, she's known as the party plague because she has been kicked out of numerous bars, parties, and even airplanes. She was investigated after she punched a security guard who was trying to remove her from a Los Angeles bar one time. Video footage of the incident led the LAPD to open a case against her. I mean, we all have that one drunk, aggressive friend at the bar, and like once they just start going off and getting aggressive, like we just pretend we don't know them. You know what I mean? I do that. I have friends, they just try to look for fights and stuff, and I'm just like, you're on your own, I ain't trying to get involved in that. And I just pretend I don't know them. In the 3rd spot is Justin Bieber. The singer has done some damage to his reputation over the years, but at one point in time he had a clean record. Part of his career seemed to get out of control and he was facing drunken misdemeanors like peeing in a public restaurant, skipping out on tabs, being removed from Coachella by a chokehold, and caught drinking underage. Fans also started to turn against him because they didn't like his attitude or behavior. He no longer took photo with fans. In fact, he actually yelled at fans who would try to take a picture or a video of him, and in one incident he allegedly spit on his fans. In more recent times though, after marrying Hailey Baldwin and moving to Canada, he seems to be under the radar and is kind of staying out of news headlines like as best as he can, unless they're good ones of course. Taking over number 2 is Farrah Abraham. She became famous from MTV's hit series Teen Mom, but as her career took off, fans started to question her parenting and didn't really agree with her behavior or choices. At one point in her career, she decided to star on Teen Mom and become an adult film star and entertainer. So of course, MTV could not allow her to stay on the show Teen Mom with children. So she ended up starting her own line of sex toys after that and underwent a ton of plastic surgery. The only press she gets these days is bad press because of her social media live streams. She gets butt injections literally on her live stream, you know, like for promotion, shows her butt and everything, and her 11-year-old daughter Sophia is in the room with her, like talking about the butt injections. Her parenting choices are hers to make, obviously, but you can understand why people would see this as toxic. Earning the number 1 place is Shane Dawson. He first joined YouTube back in 2008 with a channel called Shane Dawson TV. His personality and funny skits at the time won people over and he skyrocketed into fame, which led him to creating his own series called Conspiracy Theories with Shane Dawson. However, in this past year or so, he has been facing a harsh reality after people revealed old footage of him doing blackface, making racist comments, saying inappropriate comments about minors, and saying he sexually assaulted his cat. Now honestly, these are just a few of the controversies he is facing right now. What pushed everyone over the edge though was a recent video where he was performing inappropriate gestures towards a poster of Willow Smith when she was underage. Things are so bad for him right now that YouTube just canceled all ads across all 3 of his channels, which means that he is making $0 on any of his videos. Starting us off at number 10 is Bella Thorne. There is a big debate going around if Bella is in the wrong for this, so I will let you guys be the judge. The OnlyFans community is not happy with Bella after she joined the app and allegedly cheated the system. This caused OnlyFans to change their payment restrictions so that users can only get paid a certain amount of money per post, including their tips. The sex workers community publicly lashed out on Bella and said that she ruined their financial potential, and for a lot of these users, OnlyFans is their full-time income. They take it very seriously, obviously, and they don't think it's fair that Bella uses it when she doesn't really need the money. obviously. Bella ended up apologizing and said she didn't know the rules and promised to make it up to some of these sex workers by promoting their OnlyFans pages and working alongside them. But former YouTuber Alicia Faith came forward with screenshots showing that she was one of these creators who was supposed to be promoted. She showed various screenshots of a group chat that Bella and her mom, who was also her manager, had created, saying they were going to help them, but they never did. Both Bella and her mom ghosted the girls' messages in the chat. So that is basically the long story short of all this OnlyFans drama, but let me know what you guys think. I don't know if celebrities should be allowed to have OnlyFans. Up next, number 9 is Pokimane. She is one of the most popular Twitch streamers in the world, but could lose everything for breaking some of their policies. Throughout the years, she's been given warnings about breaking policies and has escaped being banned from the platform on a few different occasions, which obviously means that she's doing things that is against their guidelines. She's probably getting away with it more so than other people would because of her status. But recently, she's at risk once again for being banned after using the word simp in one of her live streams. She said the word multiple times and it grabbed Twitch's attention because they banned that use of the word along with some other words in an attempt to stop online harassment and bullying. Now, some people think it's a little ridiculous to ban words and then ban users for saying them, while others appreciate what they are trying to do. The reason she's believed to be so toxic though is not because she said the word simp. It's because she's broken policies many times, like the one time that she showed an explicit photo in one of her live streams, and she got suspended for a few days for that. Do you think she should have been banned for using the word simp? Is she toxic, or is Twitch just too strict? Let me know. Sniping our number 8 spot is Billie Eilish. Now, I personally do not think she deserves to be on this list. I think people are calling her toxic for a pretty ridiculous reason. All Billie did was participate in a new trend on Instagram called Post a Picture Of, where fans can ask her to share a photo of a specific thing. One of the responses on the trend asked her to show a picture of her phone's lock screen, so she screenshotted it and posted it to her story. Fans were thrilled that she did it, but when they saw what it was, some people had a problem with it. Her lock screen showed a waterproof painting of 2 naked women. Fans were a little confused by it, but then she was asked to post a picture of her favorite drawing, and she posted a number of sketches she had drawn of various female anatomy parts, I'll say, including breasts. She made a joke about it and captioned it with, "These probably LOL, I love boobs." Immediately after posting the photos, her followers started to drop rapidly and she lost over 100,000 followers in 30 minutes. She's only 18 years old and I can understand why her audience may be younger, but do you think that she deserved to lose that many followers because of this? Like, to me, this was not toxic behavior. However, some people think it was. And spot number 7, we got Sean Kingston. I mean, what's more toxic than not paying your bills and having warrants out for your arrest? It has been many years since he was taking over the pop music scene in Hollywood, so it might be a surprise that you see his name on this list. Somehow, he's always kept a name for himself though, even though he hasn't really put out music in years, probably a decade. Despite the fact he's been living a more quiet life, he has still made headlines throughout the years, but all for reasons that you would not want to. Police told TMZ there is a warrant out for his arrest right now, and he is facing grand theft charges due to unpaid jewelry bills. Apparently, he has had issues with paying off his jewelry in the past and has actually been sued a few times because of it. Police say they do not plan to actively search for him, but the warrant has been officially filed. His bail was set to $45,000 and he could be sentenced up to 3 years in prison if he is convicted. He has not commented on this, but honestly he seems very unbothered by it. Even though the warrant is public news now, he still continues to show off his fancy jewelry on his Instagram. You know, like the jewelry that he did not pay for. Moving on to number 6, we have Logan Paul. One of the reasons he left the YouTube scene was because of his bad decision that he made back in 2017, but it is finally catching up to him now. He has apologized many times for one mistake in particular, but it still wasn't enough to escape a lawsuit. If you missed what happened in 2017, he vlogged his visit with his friends to the Japanese suicide forest where they unexpectedly came across a real dead body. In the video, they could be seen laughing, and the body was actually shown in the final cut that he had posted to YouTube. People thought it was unacceptable and very insensitive to the person who had committed suicide and also their loved ones. Logan ended up losing a multi-million-dollar licensing agreement with Google, and he slowly just shied away from YouTube. But a few years later, in December 2020, a company called Blacklist Pictures sued him and demanded he pay $3.5 million. In 2016, they produced a film with Logan called Airplane Mode and had the agreement with Google that YouTube would promote and distribute the film. But since Logan lost his agreement after his video, the film company is going after the $3.5 million that Google was actually supposed to pay. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but Logan has openly admitted to his mistake and he has apologized for it. But will he have to pay for it? That is the question. Halfway through our list, on number 5 is Gabby DiMartino. Whether she meant her actions to be toxic or not, we won't truly know, but she says that it was all done in innocent fun. The 25-year-old YouTuber was suspended on OnlyFans last month after she shocked her viewers with disturbing content that involved a video of a child. The child was actually her when she was a young girl. She was charging her fans $3 to view a video of her flashing the camera when she was just like a child. It was weird. She was kind of like dancing around, singing, and she lifted up her dress. I don't know why you would post it. People were confused with the content, and it prompted serious concerns that could have led her to get arrested. People immediately started questioning if they were set up to view, possess, or distribute what they would refer to as CP. Now, this is an acronym that we use here on YouTube because I cannot say the actual words. In the United States, this is a Class D felony, so she could be in big trouble. Even if it's not right now, this could come back to haunt her. She was immediately suspended from the app, but at the time of this recording, she has not been charged with any crime yet. She did apologize after the incident and said the video was meant to be funny. She said, "It was a home video I love to share with my friends, and I use my OnlyFans as a Finsta page where I share stuff as I would with friends." I don't even know why you would share that with friends, but okay. Next up at number 4 is Trisha Paytas. The 32-year-old has had a long, successful career so far, but one that is filled with tons of drama and controversy. She has almost lost her career on multiple occasions, but somehow is able to keep going. But this year she has caused quite the stir on TikTok after starting drama with teens who are half her age. Through a variety of videos, she began calling out TikTok stars like Charli D'Amelio, Dixie D'Amelio, Emma Nortz, and Brooklyn XO, all of which are teenagers. She pulls up some of their content and then reacts to it in her TikTok videos and comments on their behavior. She is constantly accusing them of not being good influences to their younger audience, and fans are tired of her going after teens. She started getting accused of bullying and began getting attacked for attacking younger girls online. It's really just a bunch of unnecessary drama. In my opinion, she has every right not to find their content appropriate, like to each their own, but to make videos on it and publicly call them out, that is just creating drama. Let these teens just figure it out on their own. Let them grow up. They have parents, you're not their mom. Just is the generation we're living in right now. Taking over our 3rd spot is Shia LaBeouf. It is hard to narrow down which part of his behavior is the most toxic, but throughout the years we have learned that his struggle with substance abuse has played a big part in it. There have been multiple moments throughout his career when fans thought it would be the end to everything that he had. His angry outbursts and trouble with the law have cost him tons of jobs and personal relationships. But at the end of 2020, allegations surfaced which could prove he's a lot more toxic than anyone ever even realized. Recently, his ex-girlfriend FKA Twigs sued him and accused him of sexual battery, assault, and infliction of emotional distress. The lawsuit was filled with disturbing details of the abuse she faced while dating him for a few years, even claiming that he had killed innocent stray dogs and then called it method acting. She expressed that he is very dangerous for women and that she feared for her life on multiple occasions while she was with him. Shia has responded to the claims and admitted that he was abusive towards himself and others in his past and blamed it on his substance abuse. But he still denies some of the claims and said that not everything in her lawsuit is true. We are not sure what the lawsuit will lead to, but his lawyer has revealed that he is seeking long-term inpatient treatment. Coming in at number 2 is Jake Paul. The YouTuber was recently feuding online with fighter Dylan Dennis, but then he took things a little bit too far by publicly attacking him. No, he did not fight him. He actually drove by him on the street when he was doing an interview and then pelted water balloons and toilet paper at him from a pickup truck. It literally sounds like an elementary slumber party. The videos from the prank, or whatever you want to call it, went viral instantly. Fans started attacking Jake, saying that what he did was childish and immature, but then rumors began to spread claiming that the whole thing was staged. Both of them kept tweeting after the incident happened, which obviously fueled the fire between them, but fans investigated the video clips and are convinced that it was just one big publicity stunt, which just pissed them off even more. Honestly, whether it was staged or not, both options are just equally as ridiculous and immature, in my opinion. In the number 1 spot is Lil Wayne. The legendary rapper is facing some serious charges right now and could lose everything after his upcoming trial. There seems to be a pattern of behavior when it comes to having firearms in his possession. He was recently charged with possessing a firearm as a formerly convicted felon. That is right, this is not his first time facing charges for having an illegal firearm in his possession. He actually has a prior felony gun possession record from New York and was only charged for the new firearm despite being caught with marijuana, cocaine, and other drugs when the incident happened. The incident actually happened at Miami Airport over a year ago, but the charges did not catch up to him until now. He ended up pleading guilty in hopes that his sentence will be lighter. He is currently facing up to 10 years in prison, but after pleading guilty, he may get much less than that. His sentencing hearing is January 28th, so we will just have to wait and see what happens. But it is coming close.
Starting in at number 10, we have Antonio Brown. Former NFL wide receiver Antonio Brown would find himself under fire from fans and other celebrities after he chose to stand by Kanye West after Kanye made some anti-Semitic comments. Antonio, who played in the NFL back in 2021, said he will still remain in his role as president for Donda Sports, which is Kanye's sport agency. With Antonio remaining true to its mission of Donda, he's also channeled his buddy's controversial campaign by saying and supporting Kanye's WLM movement. Kanye has had a lot of criticism over his WLM shirt that he wore during his Yeezy fashion show. Despite the negative reactions, he has still gone on to make headlines for anti-Semitic comments. Overall, the controversy, both Antonio and Kanye have started to become really close friends, and they've even started to work on some music with each other. It also seems like Kanye isn't the only one doing some pretty odd things lately, as Brown has had his own share of controversy when a video that was released back in October showed himself exposing himself to a woman in Dubai. With Antonio calling Kanye's comments reactionary and selective outrage, he will continue to bring his new ideas, experiences in design to our world while remaining in support of the humanity Kanye is bringing into the world. Number 9, Kim Kardashian. While we all notice the prospect of an epic, especially revolting fashion industry scandal unfolding, the response of some of the world's biggest celebrities caused many of us to be dumbfounded for continuing to support Cedric Charbit and the brand he represents as the CEO for Balenciaga. Just days before America's Thanksgiving holiday, the fashion house of Balenciaga would trigger some major backlash for its 2022 holiday advertising campaign, which toyed with some of the most deprived evils known to man, with the campaign exploiting children when the photos emerged of little girls holding on to handbags that were shaped like teddy bears, wearing some pretty outrageous gear, and a childlike drawing of a devil. We were all left feeling sick. At the end of the controversy, Balenciaga would try to claim that their plush bear bag should have never featured children in its campaign, and that they had no idea that the advertisement contained these images because they never approved the images. However, knowing that all companies have the final say to anything hitting the media, we all knew this was one giant lie made for the company to try to save their reputation. Kim Kardashian still choosing to stand by Balenciaga, a brand she seems to get all of her leotarded gloved outfits from. After days of being silent, she would say, "I appreciate Balenciaga's removal of the campaign and apology. In speaking with them, I believe they understand the seriousness of the issue and will take necessary measures for this to never happen again." While Kim has decided that she will be re-evaluating her relationship with the brand, many of us have been disgusted at the fact that Kim is being a coward for not immediately cutting ties off with the brand, and we're honestly all disappointed that she is a grown-up with her own children who should be protecting other children, but instead she's failing to protect the most innocent and vulnerable by supporting a brand that is always out here showing huge levels of controversy consistently. Hey Peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give this a video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in at number 8, Diddy. When Diddy decided to hop on the newest train in pop culture that revolved around cancel culture, many fans were pretty disappointed in his decision. When Diddy went on to say, "As a music family, none of us are saints, none of us are out here without things that happen to them in life. When the 2022 Billboard Music Awards came around, Diddy squarely stood behind Org's decision to invite Travis Scott and Morgan Wallen to perform, while explaining that one of the things he wants to do is cancel the uncancel, as the trend needs to be stopped. He would also go on to say that Travis went through a tragedy and Morgan hurled the N-word while talking to his boy. People make mistakes. Now we're moving forward on with love and respect for everybody that was hurt or affected. It's time to forgive. However, some actions are just unforgivable. As Morgan had been cancelled from 7 award shows last year, after the incident rose, his music sales would actually rise during the period. As for Travis Scott, on the other hand, he pretty much was sidelined for months after the Astroworld tragedy, having 100,000 people present and asking them to search the stage and ignoring an ambulance in the crowd was just disappointing to see, and the fact that he is out here supporting it is just heartbreaking. Number 7, Bella Thorne. So last year when Armie Hammer's fantasies were exposed and some unverified screenshots would show Armie making some pretty serious claims, when it came to his fantasies, although the topic was trending online, many celebrities choose to remain silent about the situation except for actor Bella Thorne, who took to her Instagram to defend. She would say, "I honestly can't believe this. People are crazy to fake this kind of stuff. Poor guy and his kids, like, leave his family alone. No way, he's a freak. Also, there's a million fake screenshots going around." People would certainly begin to criticize Bella's support by saying Bella Thorne is trash. How do some people still not see this? And Bella, Armie probably wasn't thinking about the good of his children when he told these girls about his fantasies, with Bella believing that she had more insight and wisdom when it came around to how Armie Hammer used his power to push boundaries with other women. The fact that she can sit here and claim that she's an ally to women and survivors, but doesn't let women have the chance to share their stories before claiming it as fake DMs, caused a lot of people to tell the star that no one actually asked for her opinion. Coming in at number 6, we have Bill Gates. When Bill Gates admitted that he was fundraising meetings that were held with late billionaire GE, he would discuss that the role that his relationship had with Jeffrey played a huge part in his divorce with Melinda Gates. When Bill sat down with Sunday Times, he would say that he didn't realize that by having those meetings, it would be seen as giving Jeffrey credibility. You're almost saying I forgive that type of behavior, or something so clearly that the way it's seen that I made a huge mistake not understanding that. With Melinda speaking publicly about her separation from Bill, she would tell CBS that many things ultimately contributed to her decision to end the pair's marriage. She would then reveal a bunch of secrets that included that there were whispers for years about Gates' extramarital relationships for people who work for him, and that his behavior was known as an open secret. Bill has always been scheduling off-site meetings that weren't on his calendar with Jeffrey, having multiple employees of Bill and Melinda's foundation visit his mansion and speak to the foundation about a proposed dollar charitable fund after he served jail time. And number 5, Sharon Osbourne. When Piers Morgan voiced his disbelief in what Meghan Markle had to say about her mental health to Oprah, he would face the wrath of thousands of fans. When Sharon Osbourne would tweet her support for her longtime friend, this would cause an confrontation with the talk co-host Cheryl Underwood, who would then ask Osbourne on air if she was a racist. Shortly after, the two would engage in this huge altercation, and the conflict would start an investigation by CBS, which would force Sharon to apologize. Sharon, in writing, would then say, "To anyone of color that I offended, or to anyone that feels confused or let down by what I said, I'm truly sorry," she wrote in a statement. "I panicked, felt blindsided, got defensive, and allowed my fear and horror of being accused of being a racist take over." After her statement in support for Piers Morgan continued, she would face further claims by her colleagues' remarks, which some she would go on to admit to and some she would deny. Osbourne would then join her friend Piers on Talk TV, where the presenters hold nothing back and say what they feel, and not following one party at all. And number 4, James Charles. After Charli D'Amelio uploaded a YouTube video that many people considered offensive as it showed her and her sister Dixie spitting out food in front of a personal chef, many users would deem it inappropriate. James Charles, who was also at the dinner, wouldn't be called out for any inappropriate behavior, surprisingly, like Charli and Dixie. However, that didn't stop him from speaking his mind about cancel culture and the D'Amelios dropping followers. James would go on to say the Charlie situation is not sitting right with me right now. 100 million followers in 1 year and y'all expect her to know how to be a perfect role model? Backlash because she's a picky eater and made a joke about milestones. 30-plus-year-olds dragging someone half their age. Feels familiar. However, I think a lot of people weren't upset about the fact that the girls didn't like the food, but the fact that they were beginning to spit up the food in front of the chef and making hurtful comments about it. The fact James tried to support this toxic behavior is just a little outrageous, because even with age you can't justify someone's poor table manners, because we were all taught better to react during these situations at a young age. And number 3, Boozy. After the baby made some homophobic remarks during his set at the 2021 Rolling Loud Festival in Miami, Boozy would take to his Instagram Live to rant about the displeasure of people canceling the baby over his remarks. Shortly after the baby's performance, even Lil Nas would make a joke that him and Jack Harlow would be wearing nothing during the VMA's performance while performing Industry Baby for charity, and this also really didn't sit well with Boozy, as he would claim no one should be picking sides over the baby saying some wild things. Boozy definitely wasn't done with his rant, and he would continue on in another video about his outrage over Lil Nas's announcement, with several artists, including thousands of fans, speaking out against the baby's extremely hurtful remarks that were made. All Boozy did was add more fuel and stigma to the discrimination that surrounds the LGBTQ community. The mistruths that were used by the baby and supported by Boozy had no place in society, and the fact that the musicians used their voice to spread so much hate towards the most marginalized people in our community is just saddening. Boozy's out here saying people shouldn't be taking sides, yet he took sides to spread hate instead of using his voice for good. At number 2, Bo Derek. Now, the Kardashian family has been slammed for blackfishing for years, especially when it comes to their braids. When Kim Kardashian West was accused of cultural appropriation after crediting actress Bo Derek as the inspiration behind her box braids, she would even go on to credit the braids as Bo Derek braids. Now, Bo Derek would come to the star's defense. So Bo Derek, who is now 61, wore her hair like this while she was in the 1979 film 10, which featured the star running down a beach. Bo Derek would take to her Twitter account to say, "Hey, it's just a hairstyle that I worked on in the movie 10. Kim Kardashian calls it Bo Derek braids because she copied my pattern of braids. I copied it from Anne Margaret's backup singer from her Las Vegas show. And we all copy Queen Nefertari. I hope Her Royal Highness is flattered." While Derek has referred to the Egyptian queen, the two came under fire for not recognizing the styles and the history and origins and framing the looks as something new or edgy. Many people have been forced to cut their braids out to play sports or even to attend class, so both celebrities not understanding the hurt braids can cause was the concept of culture vulturing, and it was pretty disappointing to see. And at number 1 today, we have Nikita Dragun. When the drama between James Charles and Tati Westbrook erupted online, things would become more complicated after Tati would reveal James was manipulating men that were still emerging into adulthood. Tati would also reveal that James was spreading lies about her and betraying her after she spent years helping him with his brand. After Nikita Dragun showed the screenshots that Sugar Bear agreed to give Charles influencer tickets if he did a promotion, she would force herself into a situation that definitely didn't look good on her image. Especially when James told Tati he was being swarmed by crazy fans to even get those tickets. Over the years, James has become a huge controversial figure, and Nikita has consistently defended the star and has stayed by his side in the wake of all his bad behavior. With James manipulating younger men, Nikita couldn't even understand the gravity of those topics, and she's continued to support James even when more of the situation became to come into light.
Number 10. Tom Hardy vs. Charlize Theron. Mad Max Fury Road is a forgotten gem in cinema history. It featured little to no CGI despite having some insane visuals, and it also featured some stellar performances from its cast, including Nicholas Hoult, Charlize Theron, and Tom Hardy. Charlize and Tom played the main characters, Furiosa and Max, and while their on-screen characters ended up working together in the end, on set there was a very different vibe. Tom had a bad habit of showing up late all the time. Meanwhile, Charlize was a brand new mother who would be there on time every day while her kids were forced to be taken care of by someone else. In a book called Blood, Sweat, and Chrome, The Wild and True Story of Mad Max Fury Road, writer Kyle Buchanan shared an instance on set between Charlize and Tom. Everyone was on set at 8 a.m. ready to shoot except for Mr. Hardy. But to make a point, Charlize took her place and stayed there until Tom showed up. 3 hours later, She didn't move a muscle, and according to the crew, she was beyond furious. When Tom finally showed up, she asked him how he could be so disrespectful and said that they should fine this C next Tuesday $100,000 for every minute that he's held up the crew. Yeah, she didn't say see you next Tuesday, but the word she did say set Tom off. He rushed up to her and pulled out the whole "what'd you say to me?" thing, you know, like, oh, a big tough guy, I can't hear anything. Overall, Charlize felt very threatened by Tom and had to have an assistant follow her around on set as a buffer between the two. When the shoot wrapped, the tension was gone and things seemed to have gotten better, but the difficult shoot combined with the stress of the project is most likely the reason that there was never a Mad Max 2. Number 9. Ryan Gosling versus Rachel McAdams. The Notebook is considered to be one of the greatest romantic movies ever made in Hollywood. Oddly enough, the on-screen couple did not get along at all during the shoot. They would constantly fight on set and seemed to have completely different ideas on how several scenes should be played out. One day in particular was pretty exciting for anyone who wasn't involved, you know, drama watchers who were sipping their tea. Ryan called over the director and demanded that Rachel be replaced by another actress to read her lines with him. In front of 150 crew members, he claimed that Rachel wasn't giving him anything to work with, and the two would constantly yell on set. Their toxic on-set feud somehow morphed into a toxic relationship that lasted for 2 years. Anyone who worked on the set blames them for constant schedule setbacks and creating just an overall difficult work environment. Number 8. LL Cool J versus Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx has been a huge star in the world of Hollywood over the years, working with several acclaimed directors in every genre under the sun, but like most actors, Jamie had to start somewhere, and that somewhere was in the film Any Given Sunday from 1999, alongside Al Pacino, Cameron Diaz, Dennis Quaid, and of course, LL Cool J. Cool J and Jamie played teammates in the football-centric flick, and not only do their characters constantly fight on screen, but behind the scenes they had an actual brawl that ended in Miami County Police being called in. During one scene, the two were scripted to fight and filmed the first 2 takes as planned. However, some offset beef made its way in front of the camera when Jamie struck Cool J for real, splitting his lip open, and an all-out beatdown took place, leaving Jamie unconscious and in the hospital. They had to stop production because they weren't sure when Jamie would actually be able to return and film his scenes. When Fox did return to the set, it was with a small crew of friends and his manager. Waiting to greet them was LL Cool J and half of Brooklyn, according to the director, who stated that the tension was only settled after the real-life football players that the characters were based on came on set to defuse the situation. Number 7. Ryan Reynolds versus Wesley Snipes. Ryan Reynolds is known for many things. He's got his toe dipped into the world of adult beverages, wireless cell phone coverage, and he's even a soccer coach. Or football for our friends in the UK. One of his most iconic roles as an actor is of course the Merc with the Mouth, Mr. Deadpool himself. However, in 2004, Ryan was a part of a different Marvel movie. As some may know, the original Marvel movie that started this whole live-action comic trend was the Blade trilogy, starring Wesley Snipes as the titular vampire hunter. By the time the 3rd movie of the franchise rolled around, Wesley Snipes was just kinda done with working on set. He hated the way the franchise was turning out, and all of his creative suggestions were quickly shut down. His main problem was the fact that Blade Trinity was written as like a straight-up comedy movie when the previous entries were more dark, action-based movies, filled with gore and some pretty stellar fight sequences. So when Van Wilder was cast to be his co-star, he kinda gave up. He famously refused to film several scenes unless that he was allowed to wear his shades on set. Apparently he was like micro-napping during takes, because he just didn't care anymore. Ryan played a big part in his difficulty enjoying the shoot. Apparently he made it his mission to make Wesley snap. He'd constantly do bits, push things too far, and just the general Ryan Reynolds chaos that we're all used to at this point. At the end of the day, Blade Trinity ended up burying the franchise and was one of the most chaotic and toxic films ever made in 2004. So, number 6. Vin Diesel versus The Rock. Remember everybody, family. That's it. That's my intro. Dwayne and Vin Diesel met on set of the 5th Fast and Furious movie, Fast 5. Very creative title. This was Vin Diesel's 5th movie, but it was Dwayne's first, not just in the franchise, but in the acting world in general. At first, everything seemed to be okay with these guys on set. Fast 5 made a lot of money, and they asked Dwayne to return for a 6 and 7. However, something changed in 2016 when in a now deleted post Dwayne called one of his fellow Cast 7 co-stars a candied bum bum. He didn't say bum bum, but I'm not allowed to say that real word on the internet, so I must speak like a toddler. He actually said a word that rhymes with grass. Rumors began to fly that this was more than likely referring referring to Vin Diesel. Rumors proven only a week after that post was made. Following the premiere of Fate of the Furious, Johnson posted on Instagram thanking all of his fellow cast members by name, but he left Vin out of the equation. It was later confirmed by Fast and Furious co-star Michelle Rodriguez that there was a massive amount of tension on set of the film. They were bros at first, but as the time went on and the franchise evolved, so did their egos. They fought constantly over who should receive the most screen time and who was the real lead of the franchise. You know, toxic masculinity and all that. To keep both actors happy, Johnson was given a spin-off in which he co-starred as the lead alongside Jason Statham, and Vin Diesel was left right where he belongs with his family. I know it's a bad impression, but it's a fun word to say in his voice. Number 5, Bill Murray versus Lucy Liu. Does anybody else just get the most hardcore Charlie's Angels flashbacks when they see these two together? No? Fair. Sony's first foray into the world of Charlie's Angels was a massive success when it was released, starring Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu as the titular angels. The movie was filled with action, a little bit of comedy, and one of the strangest performances ever delivered by Crispin Glover. Seriously, that guy needs help. One interesting addition to the cast was the inclusion of Ghostbusters alumni Bill Murray as the man behind the microphone, Mr. Bosley. Apparently, the set was anything but a comedy after Bill found out a scene had been rewritten without his knowledge. In an interview with the news outlet Deadline, Lucy Liu spoke up about her time on set and the situation surrounding Bill's outburst. Apparently, Bill was away for a family event when a scene needed to be reshot for the movie, but instead of using a stand-in, it was decided that the scene could be filmed without Murray's character being involved, so it went on without him. When he returned to find that the change had been made while he was gone, he was furious and reportedly shouted at half of the crew, including Lucy herself. At first, she wasn't sure why he was aiming his comments at her. She didn't write the scene, she wasn't the director, so she asked if Bill was talking to her specifically, which apparently sent him into a full-blown meltdown. She decided to speak out on Bill's behavior on set, and he was ultimately written out of the sequel. Lucy is proud for speaking her mind despite being a relatively unknown actor at the time, and is very glad that Bill's career seems to have suffered for it, because Lucy was just the first of many celebrities to comment on his behavior. We'll save that for another time. Number 4, Will Smith versus Janet Hubert. Will Smith got his big break in the acting world thanks to his successful time on the hit sitcom Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The show followed Will as the titular prince, living with his wealthy family in Bel-Air, surrounded by cousins, uncles, and of course, Aunt Viv. In season 1, Aunt Viv was played by a woman named Janet Hubert Whitten, who, as many know, was recasted after an on-set feud with Will Smith just went a little bit too far. According to Will, Janet viewed him as the antagonist of her life. She had been in the business for years when suddenly this man popped into her life, and she held a tinge of jealousy towards Will as he just walked into town and he got a gig. Well, that's what happens when you're good at your job, Janet. She was trying to convince the producers to give her character more screen time and allow her to breathe on camera, but they said no because it was not the Aunt Viv show. She fought back hard, but it was ultimately decided that she would be asked to sit out for the rest of the series and be replaced by Daphne Maxwell Reid, who is the Aunt Viv that everybody knows and loves. Number 3, Tom Hardy versus Shia LaBeouf. Making a return on this list is Mr. Tom Hardy, but this time it's with Shia. This was an on-set feud that was innocent from the perspective of the actors, but not the people who were making their movie. In 2012, Shia and Tom starred in a period piece crime drama called Lawless. It was a pretty solid movie featuring stellar performances from both of its leading men. In 2019, on an episode of the popular talk show Hot Ones, Shia addressed the rumors that he had knocked out his on-screen partner Tom during the shoot. According to Shia, the two were closer than people think and acted more like college buddies than enemies. Shia claims that the two would wrestle a lot on set and that it would sometimes distract people from their work. The rumor that he knocked Tom out was actually started by Tom after he fell down the stairs one night, and apparently he was getting ready for his role as Bane in Christopher Nolan's third Batman movie at the time, and Shia claims that the main reason he wanted people to think he was in a fight was, again, big tough guy. Their feud may have been innocent between themselves, but to everyone on the outside, Tom Hardy was about to pile drive Shia LaBeouf every 5 minutes. Number 2, Ray Fisher versus Joss Whedon. Ray played a major role in the 2017 DC movie Justice League as Cyborg. Not only was this the first live-action iteration of the character for film, but he was also the first black superhero in a leading role in DC. According to Fisher, he was mindful of this and he delivered the best performance that he could, and honestly, it was a great performance. There have been way worse actors involved with DC, and some Cyborg was one of the best parts of the 2017 version. Now, I keep saying that because, as some may not know, the original director of the movie, Zack Snyder, was forced to drop out of the shoot midway through production due to a personal tragedy. The studio decided to bring in Avengers director Joss Whedon to finish the project, and at first he was just supposed to direct the movie, but he ended up rewriting most of the script and reshooting several of the scenes already finished by Zack. This is where the tension started. Joss did not appreciate any outside input on his script, and Ray was a very vocal performer who wanted to stick to the original vision that Zack Snyder had. A vision that we actually got to see in 2021 thanks to the Snyder cut of the film being released. It's 2 more hours, but it's way better. Ray claimed that Joss was not only dismissive towards his ideas, but that he was an absolute monster to work with. Following the release of the film, Fisher voiced his complaints to DC and Warner Brothers, who opened a brief investigation into the situation, but quickly dismissed the case, claiming that there was insufficient evidence to prove he was telling the truth. Thankfully, several of his co-stars and crew members backed up those claims that Joss was a very angry, racist, and just manipulative boss, creating an extremely toxic environment on set. The backlash from fans, combined with the hashtag Snyder Cut, allowed Warner Brothers to finish Zack's original vision for the project and released a 4-hour Snyder Cut in 2021. Not only is Cyborg's storyline much better in this version, but the project overall is considered to be one of the best DC movies ever made. And at number 1, James Franco versus Tyrese Gibson. So this feud was brought to my attention by a fellow host here at the studio, and I had never actually heard of this movie before today, but once I found out it was between James Franco and Tyrese, we had to include it on this list. These two start opposite each other in a 2005 dramatic piece called Annapolis. The story follows Franco's character wanting to attend the titular Naval Academy and entering into a boxing tournament against some of the Navy's best and brightest. His main opponent is Tyrese Gibson. Throughout the majority of the filming, James and Tyrese would regularly practice the choreography for the final fight of the film. Now, method acting is one thing, when you just pretend to be someone else all the time and that's it. But it's different when you're literally punching your co-star for real. Instead of the normal film choreography allowing actors to fake hit each other, Franco was throwing real punches without warning. Gibson tried to be civil at first and asked him to lighten up. Franco ignored him and just continued to box his heart out. When asked about the incident in interviews, Franco defended himself by saying that he was aware that he made the set difficult at times, and claimed to be so wrapped up in his role that he probably wasn't as friendly as he could be. Gibson, however, holds a massive grudge towards Franco, claiming that he would never step foot in the same room as this man ever again. Good news for Tyrese, James got cancelled and Fast 11's coming soon.
And at number 10, Drake and Kanye West. Drake and Kanye started off as friends and collaborators. When Drake was coming up in the industry, Kanye helped him a lot. He produced some of Drake's early hits, as well as even directing one of his music videos. But things all changed when Pusha T exposed that Drake had a son that he was hiding from the world. And Drake assumed that Kanye was the person that gave Pusha that information. The two feuded on and off, but their feud reached new heights with the release of their albums Donda and Certified Lover Boy. In the lead up to the releases, Kanye threatened Drake in a group chat and leaked his address after Drake called out Kanye on a Trippie Redd song. Both albums are released, and as of now, Kanye has the number 1 on the Billboard charts, while Drake broke Spotify and Apple Music's single-day streaming record. And at number 9, Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo. It might be hard for some of you to believe, but Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo were actually besties at one point in time, and I guess they proved that men and women can be good friends too. According to Ruffalo, while shooting the film 13 Going on 30, he and Garner became very close. They were talking a lot and becoming best friend status. That was until Ben Affleck came into the picture. After Jen and Ben started getting serious, her friendship with Mark Ruffalo started to dwindle. We're not sure if it was a natural thing or if Ben Affleck was uncomfortable with how close they were. When asked by a fan if he and Jennifer were still friends, Mark said, quote, "We had a great time together and I think we would have, but then Ben came on the scene and that was the end of that." So clearly he's still a little salty. And at number 8, Leighton Meester and Blake Lively. These two were co-stars in the hit show Gossip Girl, and since they played best friends, it's natural that they became close in real life. But it seems their characters' fate matched their behavior in real life, and the two became frenemies fast. Apparently, the relationship between them got tense during the last 2 seasons of filming, but the last straw between them was when Blake did not congratulate Leighton on her engagement to Adam Brody. After this, they basically didn't speak again. It was so tense their co-stars even commented on it. Chase Crawford said about the ladies, quote, "There are obviously always little dramas. You're on set for 16 hours, so people get irritable. In any workplace, there are always little things and frustrations." And at number 7, Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez. These two became friends when they were toddlers acting on Barney and Friends. As they grew up, they stayed friends because they were both becoming Disney stars. But their close relationship turned to jealousy fast because they were both competing for essentially the same spot. Other friendships also got in the way, notably the relationship between Selena and Taylor Swift, which Demi did not approve of. This led to the pair unfollowing and then re-following each other on countless occasions, although it did seem that most of the animosity was coming from Demi. It seems that Selena has tried to stay cordial with Demi, and she has publicly supported Demi on a number of occasions, but Demi has not done the same back. A few years ago, a Finsta belonging to Demi was found that bashed Selena on multiple occasions, but apparently that turned out to be fake. As of now, it's hard to know where they stand, but it's safe to say they are not friends. And at number 6, Biggie and Tupac. These two rappers signified the great divide between the East and the West Coast of America. However, before they were feuding, they were actually good friends. These two were the biggest names in the 90s, and Tupac even supported Biggie while he was coming up in the industry. Biggie said, quote, "We just clicked off the top and we're cool ever since." But things got tense between them after Tupac was called to a New York studio and was robbed and shot 5 times. He thankfully survived, but he was sure that Biggie was involved. However, Biggie vehemently denied this. Over the years, the West Coast versus East Coast divide got even deeper, and the pair were bad-mouthing each other in the press and in their music. Things between them were never reconciled because both men were killed in drive-by shootings months apart from the other. Tupac was shot first, and many believe that Biggie was actually involved. Halfway number 5, Drake Bell and Josh Peck. These two were best friends on and off screen when they acted alongside each other on The Amanda Show, which led to them getting their own hit show, Drake and Josh. The duo seemed to remain friendly after their child stardom ended, but it seems that they drifted apart as they aged, and both men went along different paths. Things reached a head in their relationship when Josh Peck got married and didn't invite Drake Bell to the wedding. Drake was not happy and tweeted out for the world to see. He tweeted, quote, "True colors have come out today, message is loud and clear, ties are officially cut. I'll miss you, brother." There was some speculation if it was about the wedding, which Bell confirmed when he also tweeted, quote, "When you aren't invited to the wedding, the message is clear." After the story went viral, Josh responded that he was deeply hurt by Bell's tweets, but he also clarified the two hadn't really been friends for years. And at number 4, Seth Rogen and James Franco. Seth Rogen and James Franco have collaborated on countless movies together, and they've been friends and collaborators since the beginning of their careers. But that all changed recently when Seth Rogen stated that he is no longer planning to collaborate with Franco after reports of multiple accusations of misconduct against women on the set of his movies. These allegations started in 2018. Since then, multiple women have come forward. When asked about his friendship with Franco, he didn't give a straight answer, but said, quote, "I don't know if I can define that right now during this interview. I can say, it has changed many things in our relationship and our dynamic." And at number 3, Kylie Jenner and Jordan Woods. This is probably the messiest one on this list, so of course I had to give you a quick refresher. Kylie and Jordan were besties since childhood, and they grew up doing practically everything together. They even lived together as adults, and Jordan starred in Kylie's reality series, Life of Kylie. Their friendship not only boosted Jordan's clout, but gave her real business opportunities with the family. But that all changed when Jordan hooked up with Tristan Thompson, Khloe's baby daddy and boyfriend at the time. The whole thing was an absolute mess, and as a result, Jordan was cut from the family, including her friendship with Kylie. Jordan ended up going on Red Table Talk and claiming that the interaction she had with Tristan was small, but Khloe called her a liar on Twitter and claimed it was much more. As of now, the relationship is still very tense. And at number 2, the Kardashians and Larsa Pippen. If there's one thing to know about the Kardashians, they keep their circle very small, and once you break their trust, it's over. Kim and the rest of the family have been friends with Larsa for decades, but all of a sudden in 2020, the Kardashians and Larsa unfollowed each other on social media, making it clear they were not friends anymore. After rumors started swirling, Larsa claimed nothing bad happened and it was just a falling out. However, months later, she spilled some tea on a podcast, saying that Kanye was most likely the reason for their falling out. Apparently, he used to call her at 3 and 4 in the morning and rant to Larsa, but it got too much, so she blocked him. She then insinuated that Kim had a problem with this and potentially thought Larsa was doing something shady with Kanye,
which Larsa denies. And finally, number 1, Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell. These two became known for their hilarious sitcom called Kenan and Kel. They were also both child stars living a very similar life, so it's no wonder that they became best friends during this time. But sadly, as they grew up, their friendship did not last. In 2012, Mitchell told TMZ that Thompson hadn't spoken to him in years, saying, quote, "The truth is Kenan does not want to be seen with me in any form of media or even have my name mentioned around him. I respect his choice of wanting to make a name for himself solo." It seems that these comments actually resonated with Kenan as he contacted Kel shortly after, and they reconciled their differences. They even became so close that they reprised their Good Burger sketch on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and now the pair work as executive producers on the All That revival, so it seems their relationship is closer than ever.
At number 10, Amber Heard and Kate James. Amber Heard lost a friend due to her actions towards Johnny Depp and her disregard for others. The actress's former friend and assistant Kate James exposed her for her hurtful actions on multiple occasions. During the libel case between Johnny Depp and The Sun publication, we saw testimonies from several people who were close to the couple, but none came close to that of Amber's ex-assistant Kate James. Kate went on record and said that Johnny was mentally and physically hurt by Amber during the time that she worked with her between 2012 and 2015. She also went on to disclose how the beginning of Amber and Johnny's relationship went, saying that Amber would, quote, "speak in disparaging terms about him and would say things that she was, quote, dating an old man." Kate also went on to expose how Amber would copy Johnny's lifestyle. She commented on the fact that upon beginning their relationship, Amber would start behaving weirdly in comparison to her true personality. She also went on to say that Amber, quote, "went through an odd change that almost morphed her into a version of Depp." Kate really exposed Amber for who she was behind the scenes, being that they spent so much time together. She did not hold back, especially after being betrayed by her when Amber retold a traumatic story from Kate's life and pawned it off as if it was her own. This friendship was super toxic and ended badly. At number 9, Gwyneth Paltrow and Winona Ryder. Gwen and Winona were once really good friends, and they were seen out tons of times and even lived together at one point. They were two peas in a pod, but everything ended because of their competitiveness when it came to a Hollywood role. Apparently, both of the ladies auditioned for the lead role in Shakespeare in Love, but Gwyneth ended up snagging the role, and then even went on to win Best Actress at the Oscars for the role. It was a big victory for Gwen, but a gut punch for Winona. Then years later, when Winona was going through some rough times and she was busted for shoplifting, Gwen took a dig at her, writing in a newsletter saying, quote, "Back in the day, I had a friend of me who was pretty hell-bent on taking me down. I restrained myself fighting back. I tried to take the high road, but one day I heard something unfortunate and humiliating that happened to this person, and my reaction was deep relief and happiness." End quote. They were so close, but Hollywood just got the best of them, and the toxicity of the industry took them down. Before we carry on talking about those celebrity friendships that crashed and burned, I just want to take a quick moment to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Taylor Swift and Kim K. Here's a case of on and off again frenemies that just got really messy. So back in 2016, there was some beef between Taylor Swift and Kim K. Basically, Taylor said that she was really upset about some lyrics that Kanye had included in one of the songs that he had released at the time. She told fans that she never heard those lyrics and that she never approved of them, but Kim sensed something a little fishy about Taylor. The singer and their Kardashian West had only just reconciled after the whole VMA debacle, but it seemed like their friendship wasn't built to last since Kim decided to expose Taylor for lying about the lyrics. Kim shared a video that she had secretly recorded of Kanye on the phone with Taylor sharing lyrics to his song, and when he involved her name in them, she said it was a compliment and that she approved, even calling him a friend for sharing. Kim doesn't always get involved in Kanye's drama, but when she does, she has receipts and you know she's gonna share them. On top of that, Taylor obviously made a song about their friend breakup and dished about the whole situation, so I guess in a way they both betrayed each other. At number 7, Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie were the best of friends at one point, practically inseparable, but everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked, and by the Fire Nation, I mean Nicole. Nicole decided to allegedly expose Paris and play her adult film at one of her parties. Their friendship pretty much crashed and burned at that point, leaving the two of them at odds. While this incident was only speculation and rumors, and it was never confirmed by either party, this betrayal seems to be the reigning theory as to what happened between them and why they had such a big falling out, because they stopped speaking to each other and they were no longer seen in public together, and something serious had to have happened for these BFFs to have such a falling out. The only time Paris really spoke out about her breakup with her bestie was during an interview where she said, quote, "It's no big secret that Nicole and I are no longer friends. Nicole knows what she did, and that's all I'm ever going to say about it." End quote. At number 6, Kim Cattrall and and Sarah Jessica Parker. When Sex and the City was at its peak, everyone just pretty much assumed that the leading ladies were all best friends because they looked so close on TV. But we found out later that this was definitely not the case. After the third movie was taken off the table because of Cattrall's refusal to do the film, this is when the truth of the matter started to show. But the feud really came to a head after Cattrall's brother passed away, and Sarah Jessica Parker wrote a message of condolence to her former colleague on social media. Cattrall was not having it and clapped back to Sarah Jessica Parker's message by writing, quote, "Your continuous reaching out is a painful reminder of how cruel you really were then and now. Let me make this very clear. You are not my friend. So I'm writing to tell you one last time to stop exploiting our tragedy in order to restore your nice girl persona." End quote. This made it clear that there was a lot of built-up tension between them. Cattrall has addressed the fight numerous times, saying that the mean girl culture of the show is really what destroyed it. At number 5, James Charles and Tati Westbrook. James and Tati's falling out is probably one of the best examples of a toxic friendship. This whole bi-sister scandal from 2019 saw their entire relationship torn apart in the matter of one video. James and Tati famously had a relationship dating all the way back to the beginning of James's career, but Tati suddenly decided to cut ties with him after he posted at Coachella endorsing Sugar Bear Hair, the competitor to Tati's vitamin company. She then proceeded to expose him for his endorsement, and she could have stopped there, but she decided to also expose him for his alleged misconduct with other people as well. She claimed that James was trying to, quote, "manipulate someone's sexuality," and she referenced a specific incident that went down in 2019 at her birthday party. Though James thought of Tati as some kind of parental figure, she still decided to publicly cut ties with James, thus beginning the whole Dramageddon fiasco. Their falling out and subsequent drama roped so many other people into the mess as well, and a lot of people lost friends and followers. It was incredibly messy and overly toxic. At number 4, Little Mix. On October 8th of this year, former Little Mix member Jessie Nelson released her music video for her song Boys featuring Nicki Minaj, and this ended up causing a lot of drama. After the video dropped, backlash ensued as viewers immediately started speculating on whether or not Jessie was deliberately trying to portray herself as a black woman for content, and people started calling her out for blackfishing. In the Boys video, fans pointed out that Jessie was using a lot of black-centric aesthetics, most notably a darker tan, but with this blackfishing controversy came more drama as people started looking into Jessie's past with Little Mix. Soon one of the girl group's members came forward to say that she had actually warned Jessie about blackfishing and how it's wrong, but Jessie still did it anyway, and she even went so far as to claim that no one had ever commented on it until this video came out. This caused people to take a deeper look into Jessie's falling out with the group and the toxic friendships that they had. The downfall of Little Mix became a hot topic for a while, with people taking sides, but the bottom line is that all of this ended badly for everyone and no one came out on top. At number 3, Heidi Montag and Lauren Conrad. Heidi and Lauren were the it girls of reality TV back in the early 2000s when they starred in the hit show The Hills. But in 2007, their friendship ended when Heidi Montag and her boyfriend Spencer spread a rumor that Lauren made an explicit tape with her boyfriend Jason. After the rumors started spreading through entertainment news like wildfire, Lauren decided to come forward about everything and commented on her website writing, quote, "We did not make a tape. Jason and I are both shocked and hurt that people would say such horrible things about us. I can't believe that somebody would go to such great lengths to try and damage my reputation." End quote. This situation got even worse when Lauren still had to shoot season 3 of The Hills, and that season is where the fight came to a head and there was an epic fight on camera between the reality TV stars. This fight was so bad that it still triggers some people, showing that this falling out was as bad as they come. At number 2, Zayn Malik and Perry Edwards. Yes, Zayn and Perry were in a relationship, but they were friends too, at least until the toxicity came in and ruined everything. The couple had started dating in 2012 and were engaged in 2013, but things soon turned sour after, and there's been a lot of hate in the mix there too. At first, when news of their split broke, there was little to no information about it other than reports that Zayn had asked Perry to move out of the house that they had shared together, and neither one of them were really talking about what happened between them. But things got heated when Zayn retweeted a tweet that said retweet for Fifth Harmony's Worth It or favorite for Little Mix's Black Magic. Instead of vote for his ex-girlfriend's music group, he voted for her competition, and fans immediately started the hashtag Zayn has no chill. Soon enough, Perry bounced back from the breakup and said things in her song Shout Out to My Ex about Zayn. The end of their relationship was messy to say the least, and a lot of people got roped into the drama, which just fueled the negativity surrounding the whole situation. And finally, at number 1, Selena
Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. Before Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber were a couple, they were pretty close friends. But now they're at odds after their toxic relationship went up in flames. They started dating in 2011 when they were still teenagers, and from that point they had a rocky time together. They were on and off again for a while before finally ending things for good in 2018 when Hailey Baldwin came along. People were already aware of how toxic Selena and Justin's relationship was simply because of how many times they had public breakups and makeups, but in early 2020, Selena came forward to talk more in depth about their relationship and how she experienced mistreatment. Selena said that she was, quote, a victim of certain things, saying that what she felt was emotional mistreatment from Justin. She also went on to say that it took her a long time to find strength in her experiences and to shake her, quote, victim mentality. End quote. Justin never released a statement in response, but in late 2019 he did open up about his actions in past relationships, saying that he became, quote, resentful, disrespectful to women, and angry. It's heartbreaking to hear just how bad things were between them, and the fact that they aren't together is probably for the best.